Hello, class. Today is going to be the day that you work on your own, and I have just prepared this lecture that I'm going to keep to 10 minutes so that you can spend most of today going over Garageband and using some of the functions before you officially get started on your project. So what I'd like you to do is follow along these steps with me. So I'll give you moments to pause periodically during this video, and then open up GarageBand and follow the steps that I point out. So first, let's go to GarageBand. And again, this would be an opportunity to pause and catch up if you don't have everything ready to go. So whenever you open GarageBand, every single time, it's going to automatically open up your most current project. So when you open up GarageBand, it should open that up. You're going to click on the red X to close out of it, and then it'll open this new window here, and you'll click on New Project. And again, you can click on these options here, but we are almost always going to click on Empty Project, so double click right here. And this is that first question it's going to ask you. Do you want to use a software instrument, which is using your MIDI controller, the keyboard in front of you, and through this you can generate any of the sounds that you have stored on the computer, or you can use audio, which would be just a microphone or guitar or bass plugged directly into your Scarlett interface or the virtual drummer. So we're going to discuss each of them right now. Make sure you're hearing your sound from your built-in output and you have your headphones in. For your input device, we're not going to use any audio now, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to start with the software instrument, select that one, and go to Create. This window may or may not automatically open. If it does automatically open, great. If it doesn't, you'll open that if you want it. You don't actually need it for today, but if you want it, you'll go up to Window on the very top, and you'll click on Show Musical Typing. And now you can push the buttons here on either with the clicking with your mouse or just on the keyboard, and you can get the notes, and you can use Z and X to change the octave to go all the way up there. So we can play that way. Now it's always going to default to a classic electric piano, but you can use anything else you want on here. So we can go to bass, fingerstyle, and I can record. So I'm going to, oh yeah, and tab is your sustain pedal. So I'm going to click on record, and over here, this is your metronome. It's going to be clicking along. This is your count in. It's going to give you 1 or 2 bars to count in. One thing that's very important when you're working on a project is that you set your key beforehand, and you'll learn more about why in a moment, but let's go with D. So you just click on it. Below here, you have your minors in alphabetical order, and you scroll up to get to your majors. So we'll go to D major and tempo 100. So 100, enter. If you go to track, or sorry, record, count in 1 bar or 2 bars. That means it's going to count measures before you start playing. So I think 1 bar is fine for that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. Now when I push record, it's going to give me 1 bar of counting, and then it's going to start recording what I play. So I just played a D major scale. I'll stop that. Now the great thing about MIDI is you can change it afterward. So even though I played that on a bass, turn the metronome off now, I can select a different instrument. The other great thing about MIDI is you can not only change the sound effects afterward, but you can change the actual note. So if you double click on this region here, you're going to get this down here. So you can grab that and you can pull that up a little bit if you want to. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, and if I scroll up, I can find these. So when you or I play these parts as humans, it's not going to be perfect, exactly perfect. It may sound right, but it's not exactly on most of the time. So what you can do is you can click and drag this, so it'll be right on the beat. That one was about 128th note late. This one was about 128th note early. I'm just going to slide these so they're right on the beat. So now it's just, now it's just a little bit more perfect. If I wanted to make these all legato, I can extend this all the way to the next note for all of them. Oh, we don't want to open Audacity. And play that back. Now it'll be legato. And if I wanted to make it staccato, I would do the opposite. I would just create a little bit of space after each note. Let's listen to how that sounds. Still wasn't quite staccato. You can also move the notes up and down. So if I wanted to change this to natural minor scale, I would grab this F sharp, click and drag it down to F natural, and then drag the B down to B flat and the C sharp down to C natural. Now play that back. Now I have a D minor scale. I can also change notes by clicking on score right here and just dragging the notes this way. So now if I want to make it harmonic minor, I'll just grab the C, lift it up to C sharp. Oh, there we go. It says C sharp there. And play that back. So that's one thing you can do. So I want you to spend some time today playing on your keyboards and just manipulating the notes, layering things together. So I already have that there. If I want to do a new track, I can get rid of this by clicking on the scissors or just dragging it down. If I want to do a new track, I'll go back to the beginning. Let's say another software. And this time I want to make it woodwinds. So I'll go to orchestral, woodwinds, clarinet solo. Why not? And so now I'll go to the top. I'll turn my count in back on, one bar, the metronome back on, and now I'll just have some kind of harmony. I'm not going through MIDI controller, so I'll turn the musical typing back on, and let's go from there. Not the best song you've ever heard, but you get the idea on how that would work. And I could do all the same things. I could then change that clarinet solo to a flute solo. If I decided I wanted to put the whole thing up an octave because it sounded funny, I could select all, Command A, and then just drag all of them up like that. And now it's up an octave. Okay, so now the last thing I want to get in with the final minute is loops. So this is what I want you to spend most of today doing. You go here in the top right corner. This gives you access to your loop browser. Now the blue ones are audio loops. You can click on it to get a sample. This is how many beats it is. If I want to delete these, I can either click and drag and delete, or I can click on the track and push delete, delete. Now I have to have at least one thing. Okay, let's open that back up. Okay, sorry. So back to the loop library. You can drag these loops in, and earlier I mentioned that it's important that the key and the tempo be right. So this is why. The audio loops are all going to be in the key of D. The MIDI loops are also in the key of D. Now, if I were to drag in a bunch of MIDI loops and then change the key, most of those would change afterward. The audio loops would not. So it's very important when you're working with loops that you make sure you have the key right the first time. So I'm just going to drag in a couple random loops and show you how cool these can sound. If you grab the top right corner with the circle like that and you drag to the right, it extends it. And each time you get this little dip there, that's an even loop. So there's some acoustic guitar. Let's get some bass. And again, these are all going to be in D major, so it doesn't really matter. Sure, why not? Drag that in, some loops. This loop was 8 beats, this loop is 16 beats, so now I'm only going to have to loop it once. And now let's add in some drums. And again, just picking something at random, and I want the drums to come in right here. And then I want the drum beat to change. So I'll just drag this one right there. Now let's listen to what it sounds like. Turn the metronome off. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is a virtual drummer. So, plus for new instrument, drummer, create. Now we talked about this a little bit last week, but I just want to go over it one more time as a refresher. Over here on the left, you have different genres. Within each genre, you have different drummers. And then over here, you have different styles of playing. Half pipe is cool. I use Golden State a lot, but we'll just leave it on half pipe. You click and drag this ball around. The higher it is up here, the louder it'll be, the softer it'll be, the simpler, complex. So if you want loud and complex, put it over here. If you want simple and soft, and so on and so forth, you can put it anywhere you want to. Let's go for like sort of an AC/DC thing, which would be loud and simple. And if I want to hear only the drums, I click on the headphones to solo them. If I wanted to mute an instrument, I click on the mute with the speaker there. So let's listen to this. A little too simple. Let's drag that over. That's good. I can click on different drums to get slightly different beats. I can add percussion if I want to. I can increase the fills. Put a little swing on it if I want to swing. Make that a little bit more complicated and intricate. So today, you're going to spend the rest of the time importing loops. There are thousands of loops. Use the virtual drummer, get used to that. If you want to drag in audio and add to something, click on the media tool, go to iTunes, drag something in, or just drag it straight from iTunes. So really just experiment with the program, get familiar with it, get used to all the commands. If you come up with any questions, please feel free to email me or stop by my office during office hours. One of the great things about using these loops is they are free to the public, and you could actually record music and market it with them. You wouldn't be stealing or infringing on copyright if you were to actually, release original content, an EP or an LP or something with these as the song. I know a lot of people who have done that. Well, good luck. Have fun exploring GarageBand. And next week we're going to jump into the um, When December Comes project. The main thing I want you to do this week is get very familiar with that song. I want you to listen to that song a couple times a day. All right. Have a good week.